I used the trappings of kabuki theater, mime technique, fringe New York music, like my references were Velvet Underground,
right.
whatever.
Suffragette City, or
it had that energy value. I wanted that energy value. Yeah, it was a British view of American street energy. So Ziggy was for me a very simplistic thing. It was what it seemed to be, an alien rock star, and for performance value, I dressed him and acted him out. I left it at that, but other people reread him and contributed more information about Ziggy than I had put into him.
Right, they could write novels about that guy.
Right, I think basically because of the that I'd put 3 viewpoints into the album from 3 different areas. Maybe the character himself would appear, and then there would be 2 other statements by 2 other people, all on one album, which was kind of confusing.
Oh,
but it was, I mean, it was the way an author would write a book. Yes. Rather, I mean, it hadn't been utilized that much in records. And I had trouble explaining that it was just, it was a theater piece, that the spiders didn't really exist, that they only existed for the length, the duration of that character's life.
Right.
I was stuck with him for a long time. It took a long time to shake him off after I'd finished working with him, because people relate to him more than David Bowie at the time. Yeah. It was still very hard for anybody to realize that a rock artist can go on stage and be a different person every time he goes on stage.
They do that.
Nobody was doing that.
Day, though. It need not be repetitive, right?
Exactly. You don't have to be the same personality every time you go on stage. And mine was more exaggerated.
There are no characters really involved with the last 2 projects other than David Bowie, I see.
With Low and Heroes?
Yes.
No, of course not. Because when I got back to Europe, before I could start getting involved with characters or narrative again, I had to define a new form of musical language.
And at this point, Germany was really a part of you at this time. I mean,
no, that happened when I left America. As I was leaving America, I knew I had to get to an environment that was totally different to Los Angeles. So I thought of the most arduous city that I could think of, and it was West Berlin. And so I stuck myself.
You picked up everything and just sort of took a flat.
I left everything.
Left and just went there.
Yeah, I left Bel Air, and I left all my millions of videos, and then moving out of that to an area where I actually had to go down the road and buy food in a shop, actually learn how to buy a plane ticket, which sounds so sort of, you know, naive and trite. For most people, because they can do those things.
Sounds like you dumped a lot of people along the way, then.
Yes, I did.
That for you.
I did. I reduced this whole incredible entourage that was sort of starting to develop down to 3 or 4 people that I work very well with.
Is that sort of how you live now, with that sort of hub of people?
Yeah. Well, my womb of Berlin, and it was a womb because of the wall. I guess it was all psychological to go there. I mean, I needed some kind of womb.
Of that fortress. There's a tension there, too.
The tension there is terrific, and it forced me to reevaluate my position in any given society. That,
in between Low and Heroes, even, you took Iggy Pop to Berlin to make his record.
I think, yes, I think it's a very good therapeutic city for an artist to go to.
I wanted to
come back to not the punk street level, but a real street level, where you have to go and do things for yourself, where nobody will take any notice of you. I was totally anonymous in Berlin.
But you
they couldn't care less.
You seem to do that. I mean, after every album, after every tour or project, you take these bizarre trips and you go away.
But how, I mean, who wants to come to a city and have people come up to you and say, you know, what's happening on Mars at the moment?